Cantina stage with Joel Aron, the lighting and effects supervisor of Star Wars Rebels, and an awesome person to have around. Thanks for coming by.
Thank you so much for having me.
So Joel, can you tell the viewers a little bit about what you do
Sure.
at Star Wars Rebels?
Absolutely. What I do is take a look at the episode and find, when we have the storyboards, I find the images that best represent the episode and how it's going to look. From that point, Dave will kick off what the color looks like and what the overall mood's going to be for the episode. And at that point, we start finding reference and we start looking at the original Star Wars movies and start applying that look to our show. And with that, we mixed in with a little bit of Ralph McQuarrie.
How does digital lighting differ from live action lighting?
A lot, actually.
Yeah.
Live action lighting is a little bit more forgiving because you can control it, because you can actually see it.
Right.
But digital, that's a very good question. Digital lighting is really difficult because everyone just turns on lights, right? You just turn on and turn on. And it can get kind of carried away. And what I like to do and work with my team, with like Kevin and Waters and those guys, is to basically work like you would on a real soundstage. And what a cinematographer does when he shows up on set is he'll turn off all the lights on the stage. Like everything will be dark, and he'll just turn on one light. Click, and he'll just see how that one light works on everything. And then from there he'll think, okay, is this the mood I want? Okay, let's turn on another light. And so that way you're not overdoing it with lighting. And so CG, it's difficult to get people in that kind of mindset. And that's what we do on Rebels. It's what we kind of trained ourselves to do on Clone Wars as well. And it just gives you a little bit more cinematic look, because you should be able to stop any frame on our show and it should look like a painting.
And it does. The show's absolutely beautiful.
Thank you.
How many different passes of lighting do you go through with a typical scene in Rebels before you get to the final product?
Well, I'm held to 3. So each shot, the shots are coming in quick.
Right.
I mean, there's a lot of these guys have all this time to work on the show, but it's just a matter of weeks that we have to put the show together. That weeks for animation and several weeks for the lighting, and so the lighting happens very fast, and so we're kind of a very well-oiled machine, and we know how to communicate with each other visually. Even though most of the artists, just they need to see it instead of be told, and so I'll go ahead and paint over what it should look like really quickly, and then send it to the artist. Or Chris Voy, Emmy-winning Chris Voy, will do his lighting concepts prior, and that is what it kind of gives us the mood or look of the show. And it's basically all I'm doing is for the retakes, just painting and showing, just carve the light here, make it brighter, make it darker. In my panel yesterday, I showed before and afters, like how dramatic it can be.
Yeah, so you mentioned you had a panel yesterday. What did you go over in there?
I went over the cinematography of the show, how photography applies to a CG show, because there's so many CG shows out there that are they're very good. I watch them with my daughter Charlie, who's somewhere around here, and they're very good. But we need to do something that's rewarding for the fans. That visually that for the adults sitting on the couch with their kids, they want to be entertained. And so in my panel yesterday, I went over basically how photography applies to CG and how you need to look at it from a photographic standpoint instead of just CG, turn lights on and render. It's very important to work with the composition of the frame to work with the lighting. And so I explained a lot about that and explained a lot about how we're using on our show the exact lens set that was used on A New Hope.
Right.
Yeah.
You get a lot of the same feel from it.
Yeah.
And there's a lot, that's incredibly interesting to me. That's why I always enjoy talking to you. But there's a lot I think that people don't understand about the work that goes into an animated show.
Yeah.
Are there any other, big misunderstood, topics about animation production?
Yeah, especially on our show, we're moving at a very fast click.
Yeah, you guys really haul.
And the line we always say is that you could look at our schedule and go to today's date and run your finger down the calendar, and you'll probably touch on 15 episodes are going on at once in one stage or another. And it starts, all the way from the script to the design, to the storyboard, to the asset build, to the layout, to the animation, and all of this is happening like a freight train.
So when people are watching an episode, you guys are way ahead in the production schedule.
Ahead.
Yeah, I think that's something that I've really enjoyed learning about a lot.
It's cool. It's very good. It's fun. It's fun to keep up.
One last quick question.
Sure.
I know it won't be a quick question, but before we go, what are some of your cinematic influences that people can watch for in Star Wars Rebels?
Oh, that's a very good question. Everything. It's funny because everyone says, like, what's your favorite movie? Well, my favorite movie is Jaws. Jaws is always going to be my favorite movie. There's something about that movie that just had such an effect and an impact on people. Kind of the same way that Star Wars does. Star Wars for me is outside of my realm of favorite movies of cinematic influence because it's basically in my blood.
Right.
I'm a geek all the way through, and basically because of that, I don't have any favorite movies that I'll go to. If Dave says, this episode's like The Right Stuff, I'm like, yes, Right Stuff is my number 2 movie. And then I'll watch The Right Stuff like ad nauseum in my office over and over and over again and find all the nuances and the lighting and how it works and ways that the shadows were used, ways that shape was used. And I'll use that. I'll grab screen captures of it and we'll kick off to the show and I'll say, like this.
Well, thank you so much for
Thank
taking
you.
time out of your insanely busy day to come and talk to us. I know we're really excited about the Rebels
thank you
premiere
for
later, and
having
I'll
me.
see you there.
Yes.
Star Wars Celebration Live 2015, powered by Verizon on StarWars.com. We'll continue in just a moment.